Namaskaram. So as you must be aware that tomorrow, December 26th, there is a solar eclipse which is visible in India and some other parts of the world as well. So what can you do to take care during this time? So Sadhguru has spoken about this. So in this video we'll be looking at some of these aspects. So what's happening during an eclipse is, if it's a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, the certain changes which happen inside the body, where if you do not take care, especially in terms of food, you will see that if something is moved away from its natural condition, it tends to deteriorate much more rapidly when there's an eclipse. So for example, if you see cooked food, you will see cooked food will tend to, in a subtle way, it will deteriorate much more rapidly than it would do on a normal day. But on an eclipse day, it will deteriorate much more rapidly. So it's always best that we take care of our food on an eclipse. So what you can do is, like, if you can stay in empty stomach throughout the eclipse, and that is, the eclipse, I think it's visible from 8:06 to 11:10 a.m. in the morning in India. So if you can be in empty stomach means that if you are having a full meal, there should be at least a 4 hours gap, and if you are having a snack like fruits or something, there should be a 2.5 hours gap, and if you are having a beverage like something to drink, there should be 1.5 hours gap. So just see if you can be in empty stomach condition during the eclipse. So if the eclipse is starting at 8, so you will have to be in empty stomach by that time. So which means if you are having a full meal, then you should have it 4 hours before. If you are having a snack, you should have it 2.5 hours before. Or if you are having a beverage, at least 1.5 hours before. Or best is that you can, since it's getting over by 11:15, by 11:10 or so, you can have food directly after the eclipse gets over instead of having anything before, so that you will be in empty stomach condition throughout the eclipse. That's the best way to go through the eclipse, because on the eclipse day, you will see that your body is slightly in a confused state, and Sadhguru was mentioning that when such a thing is happening, it's always best to keep it as empty as possible. If you do not eat, if you keep your stomach in an empty stomach, if you keep an empty stomach condition, and that is the best way to become conscious, so that you will know what's happening within the system. So being in empty stomach condition tomorrow is very beneficial. So for those of you who can manage this, it's best that if you can stay in empty stomach till the end of eclipse, and you can cook and eat after the eclipse is over. So once the eclipse is over by 11:15 or so, after that you can freshly cook food and then you can eat it. Instead of having food before the eclipse, you can do that. And in terms of practices, you can do your practices. There are no restrictions in terms of practices. Also, if you know the Yoga Yoga Yogeshwaraya chant, Sadhguru was mentioning it's beneficial to chant it during the eclipse time. You can even do that. So this is a certain period where you can focus and see if you can turn your awareness inward. And all of you must be knowing this, that you should not be venturing outdoors and seeing the eclipse directly, because it can cause instant blindness as well if you look at the sun during the eclipse time. So it's best that you avoid seeing unless you have specific and equipment to watch the eclipse. So see if you can take care of these things tomorrow.